you're here in Vegas, you're doing your brow class. You come up periodically throughout the year doing your brow class. Always sells out.
Yeah.
Nano Brows. Nano Queen. Right? That's you. Mary Richardson. When I think of Mary Richardson, besides thinking of you as one of my best friends, I think Nano Queen. That's what I think of immediately. I think every single person in the industry that knows you or anything about you considers you like mother of hair strokes, machine hair strokes, Queen Mary, Nano Queen. You're just, that's what you are, Mary, to so many people. You taught all those people. I know you could go and name a whole slew of them who then ended up super skilled, super talented, and ended up trainers with big names, big followings, big classes, hundreds, if not thousands of students under their own belts. And now those trainers have produced students that, and so like, do you feel like you're creating like that's all like your legacy? Do you feel like you're creating this legacy of generational PMU artists that are doing your nano techniques?
I'm very proud. I'm very happy, and I'm very happy for their success. No, I don't look at myself that way.
No,
no, I don't look. I'm very happy for those people that are doing big things in the industry. Staying humble and ethical and just sharing their knowledge, and they're putting their spin on what I taught them. It's not necessarily my technique. They're putting their little spin on things and making it their own technique.
Yeah.
I'm just a small part of their success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I mean, that's probably most, right? They're putting their own spin and doing their own thing. There's always going to be those that take your course and go out and, completely mimic, and copy everything and put out a duplicate class, just stamp their name on it. I think that happens to, we got into a conversation about this earlier. It happens to every single trainer, I think, and it can discourage trainers from being really super open and generous with their knowledge and putting their handouts and everything they learn, up on an online class, because I hear that a lot. They're afraid. I'll get asked all the time, you've been teaching, you're super generous with your information, you've got online courses. Aren't you worried about people taking your class, stealing your stuff, and a month later putting out a course? And I'm like, well, if I'm going to be afraid of that, then I'm going to be living in fear every single day.
It's going to happen.
It not only is it going to happen, it has certainly happened with me, especially regarding lift. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've blatantly caught, caught people using my same exact handout, same exact verbiage and, whatnot. So it is going to happen. So, but you didn't let that stop you. You're super generous. So why doesn't that stop you, Mary? Why, despite that happens, it has happened to you, and it breaks your heart.
Well, and I've had to take legal action on people too, and I've won every single one. All they have to do is ask me. Give me credit.
Right.
I would give it to you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've had students take my manual and duplicate my entire manual, and I see it on a post in a training. Mm-hmm. I've had to literally send letters from my attorney. Our stuff, we put a lot of time and effort into what we put together. And I'm proud and I'm flattered that they like what we put together, but it's not right to take someone's hard work. And you know what I mean?
Well, it's illegal.
It's illegal. All my stuff's copyrighted. All of my stuff. My new manual we just did, it's copyrighted. Yeah. So I am not afraid. I have the means to take legal action on people that will blatantly steal my stuff.
Yeah, you're not afraid.
I'm not afraid. And
I'm not afraid either. Yeah. And I take action as well. I'll protect my material and my stuff. But it's like you can't be afraid. I mean, there's something in you and I and many, many others that drive us to lecture, to teach, to train, to mentor, to put together these training manuals and these training programs, right? I mean, I can speak for myself personally. I'll sit down in front of the computer and I will type for, 8, 9, 10 hours putting together chapter after chapter after chapter. It's a lot of work.
She speaks the truth. She speaks the truth. Yeah.
Well, I'm super detailed the way I think, and so that comes out in my writing. I think the way I write and the way I teach is pretty recognizable. The way you teach and you write is pretty recognizable, and I stand with you. Just ask me if there's something. If there's a chapter in my course that you really like and you think your students would benefit from it, then ask me, and
Exactly,
I think all good trainers want is credit, right? If you're taking something from a course and you're going to repurpose it, for your own courses or, in-person classes, reach out to us, definitely give us credit. Don't try to pass it off as your own because, once people find out,
They know.
It ruins your reputation.
They know. And I'll have a group of students and I go, listen, if you have any questions whatsoever regarding removal, even though you're not a student at Tarrant's, call Tarrant, reach out to Tarrant. She will respond.
Yeah.
Not because even if you're not a student, she takes the time to still give you good advice or mentor kind of from afar. I go, that's kind of how we are.
Yeah.
Half people that come and message me in the middle of the night aren't even my students. Hey, Mary,
Right.
I hate to bother you. I'm like, no, if I'm awake or not out of the country, I will respond.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're the same way. We really give 110%. I don't lose sleep over. If someone steals my stuff, karma will get them.
Right.
I'm not going to lose sleep over because it's happened for years against me and you.
Yeah.
My photos have been stolen. My content's been stolen. But that's okay. The ones that I do go after, they know ahead of time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just one of those things where just ask me. I will be more than happy to help you any way I can.
Yeah.
And I have a couple girls that train with me. I'm like, girl, you're ready to train. Like, you're good.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
good. And whatever I can do to help you. They're like, oh my God, can I use this page? I'm like, absolutely. You deserve to train.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I am very forthcoming with my information to my students. And I feel good about it. Feel really good about it. And let me just put this out there. A lot of my students are better than me.
Yeah.
They are really good at what they do, and they're going to have a long career ahead of them. So I always tell my students, I go, they're like, oh, Mary, I want to be like you one day. I'm like, it took me 18 years to get to where I'm at today.
Right.
Just take your time, enjoy your life, enjoy the fruits of your labor, and don't do this because I'm making $20,000 a month or $30,000 a month. You have your whole life ahead of you to make this money.
Yeah.
Enjoy your craft. Else you're going to get resentful.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's the truth.
No,
Yeah.
I think that's the truth
Yeah.
too. So do you think the new generation of artists, the younger artists that, they're in their 20s and 30s, these younger
Yeah.
artists, do you think that they're better? They're better than like you and I, the artists like in our generation. Do you think they're better artists? Yeah,
definitely.
Right?
Hands down. Trainings have gotten a lot more detail oriented, but people are also learning. Like I would follow somebody. I'm like, ooh, I would look at things and learn from it too.
Yeah.
You didn't know nanostrokes wasn't around when I was hair strokes, nanostrokes, microblading. It's all hair strokes. But back in the day, no one was doing hair strokes. I
Yeah.
was like the only person in Florida people would go to, and I was booked out a year and a half.
Well, I can remember in the United States, like the PMU industry didn't really like hair strokes.
No.
I can remember going to conferences, and if someone showed a picture of a hair stroke in a lecture or lectured about hair strokes, like the whole audience would get like a little turned off. You'd hear some snide remarks under the breath. It was the solid eyebrow with not that much artistic skill to it. You're talking late 80s, that's before you and I, but we started in
the old school Sharpie marker,
the early 2000s.
Yeah.
But by the time I came into the industry, early 2000, that was our the standard to reach, that solid eyebrow without any gradients, without any
didn't
soft
exist.
edges.
You weren't even taught that in fundamental school whatsoever.
No, you weren't taught
Pack
that at all.
color in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
So, and so that was a question I was going to ask you is what was permanent, like, according to you, your memory, your experience, what was permanent makeup? What was it like?
Oh gosh.
Back then when
it
you
was
started?
amazing. It was amazing because there was only a handful of us doing it.
Yeah.
So when you Googled permanent makeup Florida, I was the #1 Google search in America and Canada for probably 5 or 6 years without
Yeah.
even doing any paid nothing. It was just all natural and
Yeah.
organic. I was literally working 12-hour days, and I was like, I was just wanted to just bring them all in and do them all, to the detriment of almost losing my marriage, and I never saw my kid. So I always say to the ones getting started now, it's so different. It's so delusional. There's one in every corner. There's a microblader or a permanent on every corner now, it seems like.
On every corner.
Yeah, so I was lucky. I was lucky because I worked in plastic surgery in the operating room. I had built-in clientele. I worked for the surgeon for 3 years before I went off on my own. So
Right.
before surgery and after surgery, I was doing permanent makeup. So and then when 2008 hit, the economy crashed. Never skipped a beat. I was busier than I ever could have imagined.
That was my busiest
It
year.
was my busiest year.
Yeah, me
these
too.
women, they'll find a way to get their Botox and their permanent makeup.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
for sure.
hands down.
For
Yeah.
sure. And that was, it was, and I thought permanent makeup was amazing and fantastic in that regard as well. It's, same in Vegas. When you Googled permanent makeup, I came up. I was like, it was an older industry back then. I think most of I think the SBCP did a study, and the age of the average woman entering PMU was like mid 40s. It was almost like a second career, like a second chance at a career. I remember that study coming out years ago. And so in Vegas, when I came onto the scene, I was the youngest one doing it. I had a very different look than all the other ladies. They were ladies.
Yeah.
And I never really saw myself as a lady. I was tattooed and pierced, and I had a body tattoo. Back, I was just different, and I stood out, and it didn't take me long to get a really good clientele, but it was a little bit harder to market, because you didn't have social media. So, and now, why do you think, Mary, because now, like you said, when you and I started, there wasn't that many people doing it. It was a much smaller industry, and there's both good and bad, right? That comes with that. There's both pros and cons that come with that, just like everything else. But here we are 20 years later, you and I, and we're not still here. We're still thriving.
Yeah.
We're still relevant. We're
Yeah.
still in demand. We're still doing podcasts and
Yeah.
students
Yeah.
and being asked to speak at conferences, and we still have clientele. And why do you think, when so many people that blew up and possibly were even bigger, became bigger names than you and I, 5-6 years later, gone. They drop off.
Yeah.
Why do you think you and I are still here, still relevant,
I can tell you
still
why.
rocking and rolling?
I can tell you why. One, we are humble. We are thankful and blessed, and we appreciate what we do, and we love what we do. And I think that we're not pretentious. We truly care about our students and say it's our student success, because their success is our success, right?
Yeah.
I just think we follow high standards and ethics and sanitation, and I think we just put our what's the word? We put the well-being of our students first and foremost. And
Yeah.
I just feel like ethics is huge in the industry. We share the good, the bad, and the ugly. Lord knows I've told my students some horror stories of things that have happened to me, hence all my 20 plus addendums of things that have happened to me or my colleagues. And I share all that with them. So hopefully they'll never have to live, or I can save them an ounce of grief from that client.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and to this day, it still happens to me.
Yeah.
It still happens to all the best of us.
Yeah, no, it seriously does. And I think, you hit it on the head when you said, our students' success is our success. And I think a good trainer, in some kind of fucked up way, maybe we shouldn't, but we do, we measure our own success by the success of the students, right?
I agree.
I mean,
agree.
you kind of do. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
whether you want to or not. So, yeah. And certainly not all trainers are in it. And I think when you and I started training too, Mary, there wasn't a lot of money in it. Back 20 years ago, you did not start training because you could make a lot of money.
Right.
I mean, you made more money seeing clients.
Absolutely.
Right?
Back then.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Than training. And so I think, so back then you trained, but because you really wanted to. You really, really wanted to. You wanted to make a difference. You wanted to help. You felt you had something to share with other artists, and you felt you could help other artists, level up and help them achieve their goals and become, better artists, more successful. I mean, that's why a lot of us did it back in the day, because the money really wasn't there. And so we got into it back when it wasn't a lot of money. And not only was there not a lot of money back then, but it wasn't like the accolades. It's like, if you're a big trainer now, that helps carry your name. You can become a big name because you're a big trainer. Back then, no one cared really if you were a trainer. It wasn't like this prestigious title. It just wasn't, right?
And my students ask me all the time, like, Mary, when did you start training? I always tell people, when people ask you, do you train, you're probably ready if they like your work. I just feel like, we've ridden the wave for a long time, Taryn. We've been pretty blessed. And I thank God every day for all the blessings that we have. I don't really, it comes to me. It just comes to us. You know what I mean?
It's just something you wake up every day and you do.
Yeah, it's effortless. And I just feel like, I'm going to ride the wave as long as I can, as long as the permanent makeup industry wants me there to help and train and mentor. I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere for at least 20 more years.
20 more years. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, you'll be a ripe
old
55. Yeah.
No, I'm going to do this for as long as I'm able to. I may not be a trainer for all of those years and stuff, and maybe pass the baton on to my daughter one day. But no, I'm happy where I'm at right now in my life. You know. I mean, we've been training. Well, when we started training, I was only training about a year before you and I started Shades and Strokes. So what's about 11? I've been training 11 years.
Yeah.
Actually, I've been training for as long as however Monica Ivani's daughter is, because she was pregnant with her daughter was my first training. So I think she's 9, maybe going on 10. She was pregnant with her daughter.
Yeah.
My very, very, very first class ever in Ireland.
So it wasn't long after that.
We started Shades and Strokes.
You and I met and started Shades and Strokes.
And that went on for 7 years because we had 3 years off because of COVID.
Yeah. That went on for 7 years.
16 or 17 classes, which were unbelievable.
Yeah, because we did 2 classes a year, and there
one year we did 4.
1 year we did 4. We
2
took
in
it abroad.
Vegas, one in Canada, and one in England. And every single class sold out. Yeah, well, we had 44 in the England class when the heat wave was
Yeah, I
there.
remember the 44 students in the UK. Yeah,
the
in
heat wave.
England. It was
Taryn doesn't normally sweat.
Oh my God.
She was soaking wet.
Well, oh my God. Well, England's usually cold and drizzly, and
we went in July.
We went in July, and there's no air conditioning.
Nobody has air conditioning.
No, and oh my Lord! I mean, it was a heat wave that particular week that we were there.
Very hot.
It was really
the
super
little
hot.
cottage we were in. We couldn't open the windows because there was beehives everywhere.
Because there were beehives there. You'd open a window and all these bees.
We had baby goats in the backyard.
Bees would come in, and then the shower was backed up. We would take a shower and water would be up to our knees because it was all backed up. But that's something we look back on, and
such good memories.
Great
and
memories.
Fun
we laugh about it. What an experience! We were over there for 3 weeks that particular trip, but that was great.
I had my first Wagyu steak. Your wife introduced me to that Wagyu steak at that Italian restaurant. Those little narrow stairs.
Oh,
we
yeah.
Climbed up in London.
Yeah,
it was so much fun.
It was so much fun.
Such good memories.
Such good memories.